Miguel here, and I've been having just such a great time playing Mario Wonder since it dropped that I just need an outlet to gush about it. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is such a finely tuned experience and such a breath of fresh air for the 2D Mario series that it very much needed. I'm sure I don't have to explain how stale the 2D Mario series had been up until this point for the past decade and some change, but I'm going to do it anyway, so sue me. Don't, actually. Please. In 2006, on the Nintendo DS, the world was graced with the revival of 2D Mario. It's like the second coming of Christ. New Super Mario Bros. DS released to commercial success and critical acclaim, and it would set the then new standard that Nintendo would stick to religiously. They looked at the massive sales of New Soup DS and went, glad to see you all enjoying the game. Because we're gonna be here a while. Look at that. Even I could finish college in that time. What am I doing with my life? You know the rest. Nintendo would sanitize and standardize 2D Mario to the point of it just becoming pure bland and blah and blah and... Look, you get it. It was a rough time, okay? But those times of roughness are behind us now with the release of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So let me get talking about that now. Firstly, let me start with the presentation, because the visuals and sheer amount of detail poured into this game is stunning. The game has a vibrant and distinct art style that is just so refreshing to see the Mario cast in, and that alone would be enough to sell me on this new style. However, it goes above and beyond to make the new Flower Kingdom look and feel like a truly breathing world with the sheer amount of little details it features. Enemies that were the most basic in the new Soup series, such as Goombas and Koopas, have extra animations when they spot you or are in imminent danger of being defeated. Characters will tuck held items between their legs if you use the parachute cap while holding them. You can have Prince Florian hop along in the loading screens, and the controllers make sounds during certain points of gameplay. Did anyone even know they could do that prior? I didn't somehow. I swear there isn't many games that makes use of that feature, like ever. At least not ones I've been playing. Anyway, there was just an abundance of life breathed into this game as a package, and it goes a long way in making the game stand out. Also, I'd like to state that this game has most definitely earned a spot amongst the best looking Switch games. You can debate me on that if you like, but you're not going to change my mind. You know what I value more than graphics and the overall look of a game though? Why, gameplay of course. Let's talk about the controls of the game next, and I'm going to come right out the gate and say this, they're phenomenal. The game not only controls smoothly, with each character controlling generally quick and snappy, but the mapping of the controls itself is something I feel I gotta point out here, because it feels like Nintendo took a look back at Mario's other outings, both 2D and 3D, when it came to the button mapping. They may have designed a 2D platformer at its core, but it doesn't quite feel that way control-wise. A simpler way of saying that is that I find that the game controls exactly as you'd expect a 2D Mario to control if you'd had experience with it prior, but with some added elements derived from the 3D games. I realize that now, I could have just said that the first time around. What I mean by this is that while in air, you can hold down on the control stick, or D-pad, to perform a ground pound as per usual, but if you so choose, like me, you can hold down the left trigger button instead, and just like the 3D games. And I realize that really is just about the only example I had of the game controlling like the 3D ones, aside from the crouch jump badge requiring you to press and hold the left trigger to charge it, just like the 3D games. Man, I'm nailing this. To bring my point around, game control good and me happy. Moving on. I mentioned it briefly beforehand, but now I want to talk about the Flower Kingdom, which quickly wound up being one of my favorite locales in the series. While it may not be entirely original, you still have your usual biomes such as grassland and sand and ice and beach, but, hear me out, they actually try different things with these typical biomes this time around. For instance, they have names. Seriously though, the grassland, called Pipe Rock Plateau, features this neat little cave section, and also a section where it becomes this dead grass type deal. I know nothing about the outside world, my guy. The sand biome, Sunbaked Desert, lives up to its play on words name by going in on the whole desert theme, which is an idea previously done in New Soup U. However, it is far more realized here. After all, it has sands made of cocaine sugar. It's sugar, guys. Come on, grow up. The ice world, Fluff Puff Peaks, ends up being more than just another typical ice world by featuring a mountain climb that ends atop the clouds. So it's like they combine the ice and sky biomes of previous Mario games, but its cotton candy color contrast goes to make it stand out even further. The worlds of Super Mario Wonder actually try to achieve a sort of cohesion, even going as far as incorporating cute mini stories or arcs for each world. Nothing deep, of course, it's a Mario after all, but they go quite a ways in making you feel accomplished once you finish a world, seeing something, anything, wrap up really, and conclude upon doing so. Gotta say, the third world, Shining Falls, is the only one in the game that truly feels original, and I adore it. Its golden-esque waters and gold rhombus-shaped platforms make it a very pleasing aesthetic to the eye and makes me wish the game had a bit more of that originality. That Master Poplin or whatever guy who always has something to say after you finish the level can go have a mistimed jump and unfortunate fall somewhere though. He is on my last nerve. Like, does he seriously have to continue pestering you after you finish the world? The only way I know you can get rid of him so far is if you play online, but every time you play offline and do a level in World 3, he's gonna bother you! All in all, the selection of worlds featured in this game is a fine one. While not all oozing with originality, the discoverable secrets and featured levels do more than enough to make up for it. Which leads me to the next subject I'd like to cover, being the level design. The overall level design is your standard Mario affair, that is to say, it's really solid. The majority of them aren't too demanding of the player, but host a plethora of fun and interesting enemies, concepts, and gimmicks that kept me thoroughly entertained throughout the game's duration. There are some toughies that you'll have to go out of your way to find, but nothing on par with the likes of Galaxy 2's Perfect Run or Champion's Road of 3D World. And that's just all about I'd have to say for the levels if it weren't for one thing. Yes, I'm talking about those annoyingly charming talking flowers. I kid. I'm actually talking about the Wonder Flowers. Now, I know what you may be thinking, gee Miguel, about time you got around to talking about the game's primary hook, to which I say, lay off, it's my video! I'm about ready to pop a blood vessel yelling at my inner critic. Man, I need help. The Wonder Flowers do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to making nearly every level in the game a memorable standout, and there are around 60 different effects they can cause. Wacky events like stretchy shadows, golden ethereal pathways, balloon bloating, space floating, time slowing, chain smoking, political voting. Wait, that's not right. What was I talking about again? The Wonder Flowers are a genius way of shaking up the flow of gameplay, making nearly every level unique while keeping you on your toes, wondering what the next wacky thing the game's gonna throw at you is next, providing incentive for you to go through the levels with a fine-toothed comb for every Wonder event. And I had a blast doing just that with my girlfriend the whole way through during the completion process. Mario Wonder isn't a one-trick pony, with its sole gimmick being the Wonder Flowers though, of course. Also new to this game is the badge system, which allows you to equip an extra skill, tool, or handicap to bring into a level. These vary in usefulness, and my girlfriend and I found that we tended to lean toward the ones that added onto the base moveset of the characters the most. So badges such as the crouching high jump and boost spin jump were the creme de la creme for our playthrough, but if you prefer to blaze through your levels with stopping not being an option, you can do that. Want to turn the whole game into a rhythm-based one? That's an option. Like playing your 2D platformer straight up not being able to see your character? Go right ahead, you weirdo. The badges themselves go quite a ways in adding replay value to levels and the overall game as a whole. How have I not touched on the power-ups? Honestly, I think I have the least to say about the power-ups. Classics return, such as the Super Mushroom and Fire Flower. Are those the only two? Man, you can tell I'm new at this. As for the new power-ups, Elephant. Wowie zowie. The elephant suit? It's not really a suit, it's just you straight up morphing into an elephant. Making the Crap Brothers proud with this one, Nintendo. Anyway, the elephant power-up is pretty versatile. It offers a quick way to dispatch enemies via the trunk, which also allows you to store water to spread out on dried Wonder Buds. That's what I call them anyway. It also makes you heavier and therefore stronger as far as destroying blocks and stuff goes. Good power-up. Next is the Bubble Flower, which is like a new power-up of an old ability. You're pretty much able to do the same thing in New Super U with the Baby Yoshis, but it's far more convenient here just having it as a power-up and not having to run through every level looking like a future convict. Also, that game, New Super U, it no longer exists on this channel from this point onward. Finally, we have the Drill power-up, which, like the Bubble power-up, is somewhat a new way of implementing an older ability. In Galaxy 2, there's a drill item in select levels you can use to, well, drill, but there you're locked in a direction once you use it, whereas here you can burrow along the ground continuously, and the same goes for ceilings for the levels that have those. The power-up is somewhat versatile, allowing you to easily destroy most things that touch the drill cap on your head, and I personally like how if you jump into a stone or something of the sort that takes multiple hits otherwise, you'll automatically drill it until it destructs and you carry your jump momentum afterward. The online mode! I told you I didn't have much to say about the power-ups. I wasn't going to talk much about this originally, but the more I played the online, the more I grew to be really fond of it. I believe this to be the smoothest online experience I've ever had in a Mario game. Rarely did I ever encounter lag, and when I did, it was very brief, and every disconnect was by choice or by fault of mine. Performance aside though, I'd like to touch on how the online is incorporated into the gameplay itself. Entering the online mode, you're greeted by players who are currently playing the game in the same area as you are, and can see them running about in the world map, going about their business, entering and exiting levels in a way that reminds me of an MMO. If you enter a level within the time another is playing it, you join in with them, and if everyone in the level reaches the goal around the same time, that is something the game acknowledges, syncing the end level sequence with everyone involved. Beyond that, players can also assist one another in quite a few ways, offering power-ups and placing down collectible standees that can save a player who would otherwise lose a life, to name a couple. Playing Wonder Online makes the already alive and breathing world of the Flower Kingdom feel all the more just so, and makes the adventure truly feel like one you're never alone on. Next is the part of the video where I would talk about the soundtrack of the game. That is, if I wasn't planning to dedicate a future video to that alone, because I'm cool like that. I'm so cool in fact that I can't think of a transition to my Super Mario Bros. Wonder marks the new triumphant return of 2D Mario, and I welcome it with open arms if things are going to continue in this way. Wonder is a phenomenal achievement that many series have struggled to accomplish, an enjoyable fresh take on a formula that incorporates the best of what's been familiar, while being a notable step forward for a series that needed it 11 years ago, adding incredibly solid features that I would love to see be series staples moving forward, being more fleshed out in future entries. Actually, I just found the note that I made about the Cosmic Hoppos level not featuring a reference to Mario Galaxy during its Wonder segment. 0 out of 10 game?